Welcome to another exciting episode of Home Sweet Home. I am Rod.
I feel like I'm in a gymnasium ready for the basketball team to come out, man. Dang, that was awesome. You need to find a new gig.
You think so?
That was awesome. I'm Bryce Roney. I was taken aback by your introduction there. That was awesome, man. Welcome back to another episode of Home Sweet Home.
Well, so I got to share this with you. I think you're going to get a chuckle out of it.
Okay.
You know, we've been pals for a while, and I think we know each other pretty decently.
Yeah.
So I saw this meme the other day, and I thought, my Lord, this is me.
Okay.
All right, so you tell me if you think this is me or not. All right, so the meme has a little minion, and it says, I don't like to think before I speak. I like to be just as surprised as everyone else about what comes out of my mouth. Is that me, or is it?
It's you, and I like how you narrated that too. Man, what's gotten into you?
I don't know, man.
You found some. You got some gusto or something, man.
You know.
That is absolutely you to a T.
Oh, I thought it was. I really did. I shared it with some people that have known me for a very long time. Shared it even with some of my teammates over at school. And their responses were pretty much just like yours.
Yeah.
You had Dead on McCall.
Yeah. Instead of the minion next to it just have a picture of you. It's like, can you send me that? I'm going to edit it.
Anyway, sorry. I just saw, like I say, I saw that and I couldn't help but, again, I couldn't help myself.
Right.
So thank you for letting me indulge a little bit.
You know, Rod, I am, you're welcome. And I'm just glad that, we met at that Christmas party because you've brought a lot of joy and comedy into my life, honestly.
Really? Well, yeah. That's good because you have kind of done a lot of the same. In fact, we had to... we were doing a curriculum writing thing a few years ago, and we had to take a personality profile.
Okay.
And in this personality profile, we were answering all these different questions, and based on how you answer the questions, it says, what kind of personality are you in a group setting? You want to guess what my personality or what my role was in group setting?
Tell us.
Comic relief.
Another not a shocker. Not a shocker. So, oh my goodness. What are we talking about today, Rod?
Well, okay, so again, I love working with young people because you never know really what each day is going to bring.
Right.
And working with seniors is for me the best group of kids I can work with.
Yeah.
As because I'm always taken back to what was it like for me when I was in high school when I was a senior. And so I try and share with them some of these different things. And, you got kids dating each other and, being friends. But then, of course, the emotional drama of not being friends or the kids break up with each other, whatever the issues might be.
Yep.
And I tell them all the time, be in the moment. Enjoy the moment. Because when you graduate in May, then you most likely aren't going to see these people ever again.
Yeah.
Maybe you go to a class reunion. I mean, I graduated a few years ago, and I have yet to go to a class reunion.
Yeah.
I mean, and it got me thinking about... Well, I still do have friends from high school.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends that go way back. I mean, I got friends from when I was 5 years old, and we're still friends. I got my friend, we grew up next door to one another. I mean, crying out loud. She's a few months younger than I am, but crying out loud, we go all the way back.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking about relationships. How is it that I was able to have these friends going way back from when I was, 5 years old to now? I mean, you got your work pals.
Right.
And you got, different folks that come in and out of your life. You got your folks from, from church or from the neighborhood, where you live, the parents of your kids as friends, that kinds of stuff.
Right.
But what is it about relationships that make it possible for you to sustain a long time of friendships? I mean, you and I, we go back 10 years.
Yeah.
And I pay you a lot of money to be my friend. But sometimes you don't have to pay people to be your friend.
No, not always. In our case, yes, you do. Jeez.
So, it's weird how things just kind of pop around. But I got on my Twitter feed, I saw an article or somebody had posted on Psychology Today about actually relationships.
Okay.
And so it all kind of poured together, how things kind of do.
Right.
And so I thought that maybe we could talk about, a little bit about relationships and in particular how to take the relationships that we have and make them stronger.
Yeah. I like this topic. I like where you're going. I'll say that I have some childhood friends I don't talk to as much, but we're still friends. We're maybe in different states. Have spouses and children, but we're still friends. We'll still text or call every once in a while just to check-ins and all that, but relationships I have learned, are extremely critical, especially to our success. Who are we in the room with? You're in relationships that are going to add value to your life. They're going to encourage you. They're going to push you toward success and toward your goals. Or are you going to have relations with people who do the complete opposite?
Yes.
And I know that
we were married to two people like that.
Yeah, well, and so we, and people that we've done life with, I think I could speak for both of us that we've been on both sides of that. We've been associated with people that have let us down, unfortunate paths, and we've done life, and I will continue to pursue doing life with people who live by design, live with excellence in mind, and strive to pour value into me, to see my worth, right? To see, the greatness, sometimes that I have a hard time seeing. And so those are the people that, I want to do life with. I want to be in rooms with successful people, and that are again, add value. And I think that's one of the most significant things we could do is add value to others. But when we talk about relationships, it's about investing into those relationships, like intentionally investing, and not just the surface level, not Facebook, right? You could have a lot of people have a lot of Facebook friends.
Thank you. I have, people that I went to high school with, people that I used to work with. I have some of my former students, and they're starting to get married and have kids, and boy, howdy, does that make you feel old.
Isn't that wild?
It is. I mean, they were in my classroom 20 years ago, and now they're married, they got a couple of kids. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole, but you're right. These are people that are those cursory friends.
Yeah.
That, well, we had a class together or we worked together 15 years ago, but, we weren't real close. You go your way, I go my way, and we kind of stay up that way.
Right.
But I have those friends that I truly do value that relationship. And it's almost purely accidental. I don't remember doing anything deliberately to make those relationships better.
Yeah.
Because you're right, I also had relationships with friends who, well, they were up to no good.
Yeah.
I don't know that they realized what no good they were up to. I don't know that I appreciated what no good they were up to. And luckily, by the grace of God, I did not follow them down their paths. But having gone through the divorce really helped open my eyes to what I want from my relationships, whether it is just a passing friendship, a close friendship, that intimate relationship that now I have with Sherry, and how to build those, develop those, and even how to maintain.
Right.
And so I guess that's why when I read this article, I was drawn to it, because again, it really was kind of a neon flashing sign going, hey, read me.
Right. Yeah.
And so what I did is so as I was reading through this, they came up with a list of 5 items that can be used to help enrich your relationships, develop relationships from something maybe minor, if you want it to be something more, as well as how to basically maintain.
Yeah.
And for me, I need all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I need a lot of things, but in this particular case, because you're right, we are social. Human beings have evolved over billions, well, not billions, but over a long time. And we truly today, in this year of 2022, are social beings. I mean, COVID has truly driven that home, that we can't do this alone.
Yeah.
And we need interactions, positive social interactions, and we need our friends in worse ways than we probably ever thought about.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, I can tell you that rather that if it wasn't for people like you, family members like the Crawfords, or gosh, even Suzanne's parents before I even knew Suzanne.
True.
That went above and beyond to fight for things that I thought were dead. Dreams.
Sure.
And so I'm just eternally grateful for those relationships. And I get that we're gonna have seasons where we're gonna do life with people, and maybe it's only for just a short season, right? But there's something to learn from that, absolutely, from that relationship. If you take time to reflect and look into what was going on, not because there's something to learn from pretty much every situation that we encounter in life.
Sure. No, absolutely correct. And so I guess the first item on the list, and these are in no particular order, is to make sure that you let these people know their value. Express gratitude. Like you just did when you said thank you for me being in your life. And that's a two-way street. I also am grateful for all the great things that you have provided for me. Crying out loud. When you talk about things that you lost that you never thought you would get back, I was very adamant that I would never get married again. I mean, I told my students it would be a cold day in hell before I got remarried. I guess
Look at you now.
Yeah, no kidding. But you're right. The relationship with Sherry showed me that I could learn to love again. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that you stood up with me 5 years ago when I did get remarried. And, you know, it doesn't take much to say thank you.
No.
And it's not always, you know, not always words. You know, my granddaddy. And I will admit that my granddaddy is a collection of wise words from a multitude of people. In fact, once my dad says, you know, I wish I'd met this granddaddy of yours. He sounded like a pretty smart feller. But anyway, the idea, you know, and it's not just the words. I mean, the words are good. The words are important.
Right.
But I think it's also the deeds. The deed, you know, back it up. You know, when you're showing or expressing gratitude, because that's actually the term they use. They said express gratitude. Because expressing that gratitude is words, but also deeds.
Right.
I mean, when it comes to, you know, a Sherry, you know, occasionally I will bring flowers. Probably not as often as I should, but bring them not just because you screwed up.
I was going to say.
But because, hey, you know, just a way of saying, I appreciate you. I thank you for the role you play in making my life worth getting out of bed every day.
Yeah.
And, you know, and my friends from way back, thank you for still being my friends, despite me not always being a good friend to you.
Yeah.
And so, again, expressing gratitude.
Well, and I think, you know, those friends are in our lives because they know that we're not perfect. They know that we're going to miss the mark. Right?
Yeah.
They've accepted who you are, the meme that you wrote in the beginning. They've accepted who you are, you know, and they push that aside because they see your worth. They see who you are. They see the great character that you display. They know that you love them. You know, same thing with me, right? So,
Yeah.
You know, I don't think ever once have I looked at your flaws, because you have many.
Yeah, I know. You keep talking about them.
And you know, I can't even pinpoint it, you know, because I don't see that. You know, I see the value that you bring to society. I see your character level. I see, I just see the comedy, you know, that you bring to my life. I see the joy. I see the benefits, you know, of just who you are. If that makes sense.
Well, it does, and again, I appreciate you sharing that, because there are times where, you know, you wonder.
Right.
I was talking to a coworker, and he was sharing with me that a former student of ours from graduated maybe 3-4 years ago. Well, about 4 years ago, actually. And she committed suicide. And when that happens, and I'm really, it hurts me to say that I keep hearing of different students that I have been lucky enough to have in the classroom that they don't feel their worth. And it's almost like I wish they understood how valuable they are.
Right.
That no matter how low you feel, you are so important to people, even if you don't think you are.
Right.
And so I guess in reading this, excuse me, this article, I've tried to do a little bit better in sharing with people how much I appreciate them,
Yeah.
that they are valuable.
Right. Yeah, doing what I do as an educator, what I get to do, I see those moments way too much, and I think for both of us, we've been in that place.
Yeah.
And it's hard to push aside the pain to see your purpose. Because the pain is so unbearable, right? People don't want to die. They want the pain to go away.
They do.
And so it's. I know we're going off on a little bit here, but you know what? Maybe not. Maybe it's for someone, right? That pain is so unbearable. It's hard to see that you do have a purpose, that you have value. You have such a great worth. You are uniquely designed for a purpose. And so I think I don't know.
Well, which then kind of ties in with the next point that the article brought up. And it said to, again, in dealing with these relationships, in building them, strengthening them, respond with empathy. So that way, again, but it ties into what you were just saying, when people don't feel like, well, nobody likes me. Well, my value is less than I wish it was. That in fact, my value is so low, nobody's going to miss me. Mm-hmm. Well, that is, in my humble opinion, as far from the truth as it can possibly get. Mm-hmm. You are valuable, and if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling beat up, not physically, but emotionally or spiritually beat up, you know what? I'm going to put my arm around you. I'm going to give you a hug. And I'm going to say, you know what? It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stinks right now, but I'm going to be here beside you.
Right.
And I have appreciated when people have done that for me. A bad day at school, a bad week, a bad month. Okay, a bad 2 years of school. But, there's plenty of folks around, yourself included, that will say, you know what? I get you. It's tough. Mm-hmm. But remember this good time? Remember that good time. I mean, these are the kinds of things, and I try and do that. I'm not as well as I probably should. But, Sherry talks about her work, and, this COVID stuff has really made her job so difficult. And again, she's talking about, these different things and the snags and the roadblocks that make it more complicated than it should. I'm sorry that you're having to go through this. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry that this is so chaotic for you. Mm-hmm. Respond with empathy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, I took a class, I'll call it a class, over the summer, and it was pretty pathetic that I can't remember the actual title of it, but it's, dealing with trauma and, responding to crisis and helping people through the crisis. And it's, being empathetic and really listening to what they're going through and listening to the point that you are repeating back what they've said to you, in essence, really, so that, they know you care. Mm-hmm. You're listening to me. And a lot of times, most people just want you to listen.
Sure.
Right? And so, there's a lot of situations that I haven't been in that people, will describe to me, and it's, I guess I can't quite be completely, I don't know if that even makes sense, like empathetic, because I haven't been in your shoes, right? But I want you to know that I care,
Okay, sure.
you know? So,
Well, but do you have to be in my shoes to have walked in my path to be empathetic?
no, I guess not.
I mean, I'm just asking. I'm not trying to be negative here.
No,
I'm
I
just-
know. No, it's a good question. I don't know. I guess I've always, understood that empathy to be like if you jabbed your toe on the chair, I could say, man, I know that hurts because I've done that before.
Sure. Okay, I get that.
You know what I'm saying? So,
But couldn't you? Well, while I haven't stubbed my toe, I hit my finger with a hammer on accident because I missed the nail.
right.
I shut my finger in the car door.
Yeah, I've done all that.
Yeah, me too. Man, I totally empathize.
Right.
But I think if even if you haven't done any, you can't relate totally. The idea of being able to say, I understand that you're having a painful moment right now. Because I too have had painful moments. And so I'm going to stand beside you.
Right. Well, I mean, the literal definition of it is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. And so again, so you don't actually have to have experienced the exact same thing to be able to show empathy. But you're saying, I like what you said about the trauma. I hear what you're saying. I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm not just hearing the words, blah, blah, blah. I'm focusing on what you're saying. I am listening. Oh, I'm listening to understand.
Right. Yeah, we talk about that quite a bit.
And it's, so I think when you're able to do that, you're letting that person know that you are concerned for them, and you're going to be that sounding board.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember being told a lot of times, and Sherry tells me this frequently, because maybe it's a guy thing, I don't know, but a lot of times when she's venting, and I'm going, man, I want to fix this for you. I want to fix this and stop that.
Yep.
And she looks at me and she goes, I don't want you to fix this.
Yeah.
I want you to shut up and let me vent.
Yep.
And in which case I'm not being as empathetic,
Right.
because the people, again, you don't necessarily, maybe the person isn't asking you to fix. When they're at school and we're venting about, this situation or that situation, same thing. I don't want you to fix it. There's nothing that can be done or needs to be fixed. It happened. It's over. I'm just need to kind of blow a gasket for a moment.
Let this out real quick.
And then we'll move on and we'll move past it.
Right.
So,
yeah, and that's, I'm definitely not an expert at it. And, I've been there too, with Suzanne. She'll read the room. Right? Like, nope, that didn't need your motivational speech right now. I just needed you to just hear me out. Yeah. So I try and get in rhythm with her, if you will.
okay.
So that I really, this is a moment right here. I need to listen, and then I'm going to provide some advice. Or this is a moment where I'm going to keep my mouth shut, and I'm going to be all ears, baby. All ears. And a lot of times that's what it is. I just want you to hear me. Like I'm hurting, or I've gone through this, or fill in the blank, and I just want you to hear me right now.
In my classes, that I'm working towards my master's on, and I'm trying to use a lot of the skills that they are trying to teach in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the same kind of thing, listening to the kids. When the kids are coming in, and you can read the body language that something's not right. And I try and, again, develop that relationship with them by saying, what's going on?
Right.
Okay, you don't want to talk to me. Fair enough. I tell you what, you and I, this is what we're going to do. And you're having a bummer day. I get it. And I don't want to add to your problems. Okay? Because your problems have nothing to do with me and the class that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
You came to this classroom with all of this on your mind. So I tell you what, we're going to work something out so that way I don't add to your problems, but you don't add to your problems by doing something else.
Right.
So, but again, you're talking, hey, I get it. You're having a bad day? Fair enough. And you're understanding, you're being a little empathetic, trying to help so that way that person can, and a lot of times the kids will respond positively.
Right. Well, and because you noticed them.
Mm-hmm. That's sometimes the biggest thing is, and you're right. When you said read the room.
Yeah.
What do you need? Because then and there, it became very apparent that the kid wasn't trying to be a jackwagon because they were trying to be Joe Cool.
Mm-hmm.
They were challenging you because they were already in an unpleasant mood. They were already pissed.
Right.
And so, again, I guess I'm just repeating the same thing. So,
well, I mean, your approach, it stemmed from you, reading the room, paying attention, noticing that I have a kid, I don't know what's going on, but he came in today and he's got a story and he's struggling or she's struggling, by noticing, right, being intentional, and then offering a solution without even really knowing what's going on, but you noticed something was going on. So here's what a solution. So you're de-escalating, the situation instead of like, hey, get over it because you're in class right now and we're about to do this lesson, right? He would have been checked out or she would have been checked out. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, then ties right in with the third thing on this list. Smile. Smile at them. Okay, not that smile.
Oh,
no, just and I've been trying to do this as well, is smile more.
Yeah.
Today I told the kids that they could leave class when we were done with the quiz.
You let them out early?
Yes. Well, they had the kids got out early for lunch because they had senior lunch. So that means they got to go to lunch early and they got to go off campus. And a lot of my kids, they just get to go home for the day. And then my last class of the day, well, when they're done, again, they're seniors, they drive.
Right.
So I let them, but my point was this, sharing this, is that when they were leaving, I'd wave, smile at them, wish them a good weekend. When they come in, trying to greet them, call them by name, a smile. When I'm walking by, I'm checking, hey, how you doing? How you doing with the lesson?
Right.
Sometimes just, old touch on the shoulder, saying, hey, how are you? Making a physical touch along with, looking at them, making eye contact with a smile, a pleasant response.
Right.
To, and I remember my dad a lot of times would use a smile or a wink, just a way of saying, I see you. Hi.
Right.
Sometimes it would be at church. Sometimes it would be at different things where he'd be on the other side of the room, and we'd lock eyes and, just a smile, a nod.
Yeah.
And I find, and again, I'm trying to do some of the things that I always like. I would do that with Eric.
Yeah.
And I try and do that, again with my students. A little smile. Hey, how are you? You don't have to even communicate anything.
Right. Well, I mean, you are through nonverbal
cues,
yeah. Which is sometimes more than enough.
Well, but you're building that relationship,
Yeah.
showing that you're more than just something passive. And so I try and do that, sometimes with Sherry.
Yeah.
A smile. When we're together, we're usually together. We'll sit side by side, watching TV or, whatever we do, we're doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. I like this, and I think this is something that really spoke to me. When I get home from school, or it doesn't matter, when I'm leaving the house, a hug or a kiss goodbye. When I return, a hello, a hug or kiss hello. Even if I'm just going up to the store, around the block,
It's just kind of ingrained in what you guys do.
Well,
or what you do.
It was something I saw my parents do.
Right. Yeah.
And, again, having gone through the divorce, I don't want to do that again. And I want to make sure that I do a lot more of the good things to build and nurture that relationship so that way it can be literally till death do us part.
Right.
And, and I think that, the same kind of thing, with any of my good friends,
Mm-hmm.
A wink, even in school, you see your fellow teachers and you'll be on one end of, 100-yard hallway and they'll be on the other and you just wave and, how shall I say this? I'm trying to demonstrate it, and it's not going very well because nobody can see my demonstration. Anyway,
I can.
But you'll wave. Well, when you respond, you kind of smile at them because hey, they're recognizing you. Hey, it's not much, but it's something.
Yeah, it is. Those little things actually
make big things.
And that's really what you're strengthening the culture, by doing those things. It's those little things, like the little thank you cards, a little notes, encouraging notes, a smile to your coworker, with your kids, your cultivate that classroom climate, right? When they're coming in and they're the recipient of your positive energy, man, your classroom is going to continue to thrive.
Amen.
And so, even out and about, when you're just out in public, look what we've been going through the last couple of years. How hard is it to hold the door open and smile at someone and be like, hey, how you doing? Or like you said, a smile. Like, there's a lot of people with frowns on these days.
There really are. And I will admit, I've been known to have a frown.
I've been there. I'm still I'll be there in the future too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. And it's not just on the roadways these days. I'm sitting at the grocery store because there's not enough clerks anywhere. And I don't want to check myself out. So I'm standing in line. And, anyway, sorry not to digress. But, yeah, a simple little thing like a smile.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing more stuff about when you're out, when you're working, when I'm going through the store at, whatever, Kroger's or whatever, and smile, say, hey, talk friendly to the clerks. Yeah. Because you know what? They get abused. When you're at a restaurant, be friendly and polite and thankful instead of complaining about how long it takes for the server to get to you. Be grateful that they have a server, period. And because they're busting their tail ends, and there's one server for 8 tables when there should be one server for 4 tables. So it's not like they're sitting back there in the kitchen, goofing off and
out in the back having a cig.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, no, I mean, and you see these signs posted everywhere. It's really sad. We went to go pick up food the other night, and there were like 4, restaurants next to each other, and all of the signs, all of the stores had signs: help wanted, now hiring, whatever, and all these signs like, hey, we're short staffed, be kind. Like, it really is simple to be kind. And if these people are waiting, and serving you, go above and beyond to be kind. Not a funny story, a quick story before I know you want to go into your next point. One of our core values is generosity as a family.
Yeah.
And it just kind of ties into a couple of things here. We went to Dairy Queen, Braddock's and I.
What'd you get?
I got I don't know, like one of those Oreo blizzards or something.
I love the Oreo cookie blizzard.
They're pretty legit. I may or may not have got a large, but that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, Rod, is that the kid who was taking the order at the drive-thru, he was not doing a great job. Mm-hmm. He was having a bad night. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, man, I turned over to Braddock and I look, I'm like, wow, this kid's having a rough one, man. Like, he didn't say thank you. He didn't say, it was very dry. Like,
what do you want?
Exactly. It was. And I'm like, okay, this is a moment. I know we've talked about this in the past with Officer Terry about like your kid's in the car. How are you going to respond to this kid? I'm like, again, well, this ties into being empathetic.
Okay.
I don't know what he's going through, but I'm going to reflect on the fact that I've seen a lot of signs and being posted like, we're short-staffed, right? Be kind to us. And I pull up and I look at the kid and he looked pissed. And it looked like there was just like 3 people working.
Okay.
And I look over to Brad. He gives me the first. We ordered 3 because we all got one. It was
sure.
I did not get 2.
Okay.
One was for Suzanne, one for Braddock's, one for me. And so he gives me the first one, gives me the second one, and I look over to Braddock's and I give him a wink, and I say, "Watch this. We're gonna turn this kid's date upside down, right?" And I reached into my wallet and I pulled out a $20 bill and I handed it to the kid. Mm-hmm. And he looked at it and then he looked at me and he smiled. And he said,
"You turned that frown upside down?"
He said, "Thank you." He could like shocked. Like, and not that I'm loaded, but I believe in generosity.
Yeah.
And so it was just a good moment again to model that for Braddock's, and it was kind of everything you just talked about right now. I winked at Braddock's like, "Hey, check this out," and I'm modeling generosity, and I'm being empathetic to this kid because I know, what the world is going through, and I know that put a smile on his face, and the ice cream did me too. It's good.
And
that's what we call a win-win.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
No, that's I'm glad you did that. And it is. Now, you may not be building a lasting relationship with that guy at the Dairy Queen, but you did something that he will remember and, oh, look, I can be friendly.
Right.
Not everybody is mad and angry, and I don't have to be mad and angry because there are kind people out there in the world. And oh, by the way, I just met one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Dairy Queen because that's a place that Sherry and I like to go to. She gets the peanut butter parfait. I like to get the peanut butter parfait, but no peanuts.
Okay.
She says, that's just a big old hot fudge sundae. And I go, uh-huh. But, well, you know, the fourth thing on this list, and I know I'm kind of going over on time, but schedule time to spend with that person. For Sherry and I, that would be a date night. Sometimes that date would be real simple. I would say, hey, want to go for a ride? Grab the dog, pit stop at Dairy Queen.
Hey.
And she'll go, yeah. And for the length of time it takes, because it's a bit of a drive, so maybe 45 minutes. But the dog gets to hang out the window of the truck. And yeah, silly dog. But it's her, it's I, together, out of the house. And we're now talking, engaging in just her and I conversation about anything we want. You know, we'll go shopping. A lot of times we'll go grocery shopping on the weekend. And sometimes I'll say, hey, how about we go to lunch? Yeah, it's going to be lunchtime. How about we go to lunch before we go grocery shopping? Something small, but time for just her and I together to build that relationship.
Right.
I mean, how many times, you know, you and I, you know, we'll get together, you know, sometimes during the summertime, you know, and it's kind of like, hey, you want to go to lunch?
Yeah.
I mean, I do that with the guys from school all the time. You know, let's go outside of the normal routine of life and let's get together and hang out and do something. I'll play my PlayStation with my nephews. We'll schedule, hey, let's get together, let's play. And again, you're building that relationship by saying, let's do something outside the norm to create new memories, better memories.
Yeah. It's a continuous investment. And whether that's just hopping in the car, I mean, that's an investment. And that's good quality time that you guys just, no cell phones.
Yeah.
I was going to say no dogs barking, but the dog went with you.
Well, she doesn't bark a whole lot when she's got her head out the window.
Oh, true. Yeah, we you know, it has been hectic lately, but we've done a few things like you said, like we'll hop in the car and we'll go get Starbucks, or you know, we just went the other day. We went to that Best Foot Forward, which I do highly recommend going because it's amazing. I'm not afraid to say it. Yes, I did go get my feet worked on. It felt good. Okay, but we did it together. What?
Okay, I'm just looking at your feet.
I don't. You could judge me all you want, brother. You get up in that chair and I fell asleep. Anyways, you know, it was us together, and we don't get to do those things.
It is,
but I know it's important. So it's very important that we do those things.
Well, that was something that I learned from my first marriage, that we did not do enough. And you can argue both sides. Both of us did not make that a priority. And so, and I think Sherry and I have talked about this, and I know she has commented as well that in her first marriage, that it wasn't enough of a priority. And so we both now make sure or try to make time for each other.
Right.
And it's not just doing the same thing, but also, and this is the fifth and final thing they address, is try new things together. You know, don't do the same old thing. Try something different. It's okay to try something. If it fails, it fails. But hey, you tried it together.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know. I really liked all these things. And I'm glad, I appreciate you taking the time to let us visit about, ways that we can make our relationships stronger.
Yeah. Well, it's real easy in a marriage for you to get to that point where you level out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get complacent. And then your marriage takes a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't invest. You don't do those little things like you're talking about. And next thing you know, you wonder, how did we get from what we once thought was this very intimate, loving, energetic relationship to now we're in turmoil?
Uh-huh.
And that's because you didn't intentionally invest in your marriage. You didn't do those little things. You didn't everything that you just said. You hit that point. We're like, oh, we're good, and we've leveled out, and that's not a good place to be.
When you stagnate like that, and it's not just even a marriage. Think about the relationship you have with your kids.
Absolutely.
Your kids need attention just like your wife.
Yeah.
Your friends need attention just like the family.
Yeah.
It is important. If the relationship is important, then find the time to let them know that they are important to you.
Yeah.
Because you're important to me, pal.
Thank you. Likewise.
No problem.
I appreciate you.
And vice versa. I do appreciate you.
All right. Well,
Should we burn incense, sing Kumbaya?
Maybe later. We took a little bit longer than our time, our normal time. But you know what? It's important because we're investing in our relationship, and we're providing insight for our listeners because it's that important. So, anyways, I'll turn it back to you to close this bad boy out, man.
All right. Well, I would say I have a script, but we all know that's not true. So
that's not true at all.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm Rod.
And I'm Bryce. Enjoy your day.
See ya.